Ron.
Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting for April the 2nd, 2015. First order of business, we'd like to welcome Mr. Kevin Gerloff to the board and appreciate your service to the community and feel welcome, and have any questions, ask Mr. Deach. So, we appreciate you joining us, so hope you feel welcome. First order of business tonight will be our public hearings. And our first public hearing will be the Oak Street duplex. Mr. Hampton, you want to bring us up to date on that?
Sure.
Thanks, sir. This will be for a site plan, is that correct?
Yes. Good evening, everyone. First item we have is a site plan approval request for the Oak Street duplex, SP 90, located at 302 East Oak Street. Property is Zone C2, General Commercial. On February 23rd, 2015, a request was filed for a site plan approval for a duplex to be located at 302 East Oak Street. Per Appendix A, 1 residential, A household living, 3 duplex, a conditional use permit is required. This site plan approval request has been submitted by the applicant along with the conditional use permit CUP 42 approval request as required per section 405.340 C8. And I'd like to ask to make part of the public hearing record the municipal code by reference, my planning and zoning report, and the public hearing notice.
Thank you, Mr. Hamp. Anyone else tonight would like to speak on behalf of this public hearing? Hearing none, we'll close that public hearing and open up the second public hearing, which will be the conditional use plan for Oak Street duplex.
The second one is a conditional use permit approval request for Oak Street duplex, CUP-42. It's located at 302 East Oak Street. Property is Zone C2, General Commercial. February 23rd, 2015, a request was filed for conditional use permit approval for a duplex to be located at 302 East Oak Street. This application has been submitted with the site plan approval request as required by code. Once again, I'd like to ask to make part of the public hearing record the municipal code by reference, my public hearing notices, and the planning and zoning report.
Thank you, Mr. Hamp. Once again, if anyone is here to speak on behalf of that, and I know we have a gentleman here to speak if we have questions, correct, when the meeting opens?
Absolutely.
Thank you. And all we'll ask you to do is to step to the podium here in a few minutes and introduce yourself and for questions, okay? Hearing none at this time, we'll close our public hearings and open up our regular meeting for April 2nd. And our first order of business will be the minutes from our last meeting on March the 5th.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for the March 5th, 2015 meeting as submitted.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Costello, second by Mr. Dickey to approve the minutes as submitted. Any questions or comments? Roll call vote.
Mr. Costello?
Yes.
Mr. Deach?
Yes.
Mr. Cullum?
Yes.
Mrs. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Barton?
Yes.
Mr. Schwab?
I abstain. I was absent.
Mr. Dickey?
Yes.
Mr. Gerloff?
I abstain. I was not on the board.
We have motion passes 6-0 with 2 abstention and 2 absent. Is that correct?
Yes.
First order of business will be our Oak Street duplex site plan. You want to step to the podium, sir, and state your name, and that way anyone that has any questions, they can discuss them with you.
I'm Nick Haas with Haas Construction.
Nick Haas?
Yep.
Thank you. Do you have anything you'd like to tell the board at this time?
Well, we plan to remodel the building there at 302 East Oak. We've remodeled a few around town and just looking to make it nice, affordable, and great place to live, you know, for a couple people. It's a pretty heavily multi-family area over there, so we feel like it'd kind of be fitting to what's around it. So I don't know if you guys had any questions.
I think almost anything you'd do to it would be an improvement. I looked at that building at some length today, and, you know, I've seen better dilapidated buildings down in the Delta than what's over there. In fact, I don't even think any self-respecting ghost would haunt the place. It's in bad shape.
Yeah.
And are those cisterns, or is one a cistern, one a well in back of the house there?
Yeah, I was told it was an old cistern, and they just filled them in with concrete.
Well, I didn't take the boards off to peer down there, but,
I looked
you know,
down there.
you
there-
got your hands full, that's all I can say.
The previous owners we've had contact with before, code-related items, and they've explained to us that them cisterns had been filled in years ago.
Okay.
I agree with that.
Well, I know, just
I
looking
don't
through
have
the
an official
window,
report, but they informed us of that.
there's not even, you know, siding, wallboard on the inside, at least, you know, when you look through the front, well, the side door there. So, you know, if you're willing to take that on, I congratulate you. You are certainly a better man than me.
Will
Well,
these
thank
be, will they be ADA compliant, or are you gonna try to make the lower level handicap accessible?
At this point, I don't think so. It's going to be, it will not be compliant.
Okay. I would say it's not by code or anything, but with the parking lot, the way it is shown, there would be almost impossible to be able to access it and make it ADA.
It's pretty tough with the lay of the land and
Correct.
how it's existingly set up. It would be pretty tough.
And regarding the parking, Guy Gevers, Director of Public Works, and myself went over and met Nick on site. In Guy's budget for the 215 and 216 budget, repairs of the sidewalks and that along Oak Street is already penciled in. So Guy had a conversation with Mr. Haas that if he got to where he was wanting to put his parking in prior to the city making all them repairs, Guy would let him put a temporary access off the street so he wouldn't spend all his money for the city to come through and dig it up. And what's shown would need some revisions, and we discussed that with Nick on how to make it in
It needs to
compliance,
be-
and we'll make sure.
I would say it needs to be 40 foot wide from the street all the way to the back of the parking lot versus a single drive coming in.
Yeah,
Sure.
we discussed that, and 9 foot wide is the minimum stall width, so it'd be
Correct.
36.
Correct.
And without, if he was gonna do that little, to narrow it down, it would have to be 42 instead of 40, because he'd have to have 19-foot deep stall and a 23-foot aisle, and then it would have to be the minimum of 2 lanes wide. So what Guy discussed with him, he thought would be easier just to make single
Sure.
19-foot stalls right off the street. It'd be less work and cost for him.
Behind the sidewalk,
Yes.
the depth of them behind the sidewalk. correct.
But what's there right now, there's on the south corner, there's the way the storm sewer comes out, there's almost like a built-in gully going down that curb line. It's definitely, that's why it's on Guy's list of things to repair. He's probably gonna put the storm sewer underground and make that whole area much better for everybody.
So is that cistern gonna be covered up, or is it gonna be dug out, or what? You said it meets code or whatever, but
No, I was talking about the parking area.
no, I know that, but
On
we
the
were talking about the
cistern, when
cistern.
the previous people owned it, they had told us it had been filled in with concrete. I haven't been inside of it or looked in it. Worst case, I'm sure he can.
I took the lid
fill it
off
with-
of one, and somebody stuck a lot of concrete in it. But you know, worst case,
Fill it with
You
flowable
guys,
sill
you
or
gotta
something.
knock the tops off of them
we
and
may end up
and
doing
level
that,
them
kind
off,
of
yeah.
finish grade over the
Yeah,
top of them,
yeah.
and there's a
Just-
concrete patio back there that's gonna maybe need a little attention
Right.
too. And
I say there is DNR regulations for filling cisterns. To abandon a cistern or a well, either one.
sure.
Well, I'm your neighbor, of course. I live at 309 East Oak Street, and so I thought more of my neighbors would be here, but I don't think anyone's concerned, or not. But you've been such a good neighbor with what you did the yellow house and what you did with the corner down there at the Oak, you know, I think you call them Oak Street Apartments.
Yeah.
Yeah, so your work is always above board, and I'm glad to hear that you're gonna keep it not Section 8 or anything like that, or it's gonna stay, would it be,
A nice
yes,
place.
yeah, higher, you know, not, I won't say high end, but where you're drawing better tenants that
Yeah,
keep it nice, yeah, that's nice. So, you have my kudos again.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Was there any other input from any of the departments? Don't we normally get kind of a letter saying that it meets these? or it
Basically, on
doesn't
this
meet
one, the
these?
only one I had look at it was Guy, because he's not doing anything revising sewers or nothing. It was just mainly on the parking, because I knew that Oak Street was on one of his projects, and thought it'd be an advantage, but I didn't ask the chief of police to look at it, or nothing like that. I don't see where it's, I mean, if he's bringing it, we've had code violations there in the past, when it was extremely run down. If he's rebuilding it, I don't think the police department would have concerns. I could sure have them.
No, I just know sometimes
get
they
information
look at it
from
and
chief
there's-
and have it before it goes to the board.
I just know sometimes we get a letter saying it meets these and it doesn't meet these, or these concerns were expressed, and I hadn't seen anything, so I just thought I'd ask. Water and sewer, will that be coming off of one service or two?
It's currently one.
Currently one. We may look into bringing in another water line, just so I could split up the water bills, but I do have other properties around town to where, you know, it is all on one bill, and me, the owner, actually pays the water bill. That's just included in the rent. So,
Anybody ask any questions?
You guys taking off to start it pretty quick when you get the go-ahead?
yeah,
Yeah.
we're ready to
There you go.
get going on it, so. Be a good little summer project anyways.
Well said.
Get that corner looking a lot better.
Yes, sir, that's for sure.
I wouldn't call it a little project.
These guys ain't scared. Yeah, I saw them take the Yellow House on, and did a great job on
Entertain a motion?
I'll make a motion to recommend approval of the Oak Street duplex, what are we calling this request?
Site plan.
Site plan approval.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Costello, second by Mr. Deitch to approve the Oak Street duplex site plan. Any other questions or comments? Roll call vote?
Mr. Deitch?
Yes.
Mr. Cullum?
Yes.
Mrs. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Barton?
Yes.
Mr. Schwab?
it. Yes.
Mr. Dickey?
Yes.
Mr. Gerloff?
Yes.
Mr. Costello?
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0 with 2 absents. And you can just stay right there, Mr. Hawes. The next order of business will be the Oak Street duplex conditional use permit, 42.
Yep. Same thing, and he's got his, it's the conditional use permit approval request, and he's got his letter explaining how he believes it'll meet code. If you have any specific questions for him that we haven't already addressed?
You gonna take all the asbestos shingles off and
I think so at this
take,
point. I
yeah,
got a bid.
and have them,
to have 'em
removed
abated.
and dispersed of? That's good.
Be nice. So.
Yeah, yeah. Cause you probably put vinyl over the top.
Yeah, I don't like siding over that if I
No,
don't
yeah.
have to.
Good,
It's nice
good.
to, in the event of a disaster or something would come through, you know, it's
Mhm.
nice to just have it all gone.
Mhm. Cool.
Could make a motion to approve the conditional use as presented.
Second.
We have a motion by Mrs. Scott, second by Mr. Costello to approve the Oak Street duplex conditional use permit, 42. Any other questions or comments at this time? Roll call vote?
Mr. Cullum?
Yes.
Mrs. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Barton?
Yes.
Mr. Schwab?
Yes.
Mr. Dickey?
Yes.
Mr. Gerloff?
Yes.
Mr. Costello?
Yes.
Mr. Deitch?
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0 with 2 absents, and that will come in front of the Board of Aldermen on,
May the 5th.
say again?
May the 5th. I'm not gonna be here on April 21st,
So this one won't come in front until May the 5th?
till May the 5th, and we discussed that before he
So he's
submitted
aware
his
of that.
application.
Okay. And we sure appreciate you coming in tonight, Mr. Haas, and speaking on behalf, and good luck.
Good
Thank
luck
you.
with that
Look forward to seeing
project.
that.
Yeah.
Good to have you as a neighbor. At this time, we'll close that meeting and open up the planning and zoning officer's report for this evening.
Nothing else really, just wish everybody happy Easter.
Happy Easter to you as well. Anybody else have anything for the good of the group?
We got anything going on next month, Jack, that you know of now?
I believe there could be. There's some
Mhm.
stuff that's in the works that if it's gonna come through, I'll need to get it in next week so I can make the public hearing requirements.
Okay.
Next is the first on a, what is next month's date? On the-
Be the 7th.
7th, yeah.
So the first is on Friday, yeah.
Yeah,
Just trying to plan ahead in my head here.
it'll be the 7th.
No golfing that day.
Well, that's a busy time of the year. Districts and sectional and so forth. Anybody else have anything for the good of the group?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Costello, second by Mr. Deitch to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thanks for coming out tonight. Happy Easter.